JM disappeared on the 2nd of March, 1975.
What was first treated as disappearance would turn out to be cold-blooded murder, as the body of JM Karaoke was found by a herdsboy dumped in a thicket in Ngong Forest with his fingers chopped off and eyes gouged out.
Sasa tukakaa tukimtafuta sasa mpaka tukasikia yeye yuko mochari.
JM Karaoke was a meticulous, astute politician. By the time of his death, JM was an assistant minister, whereas it is believed that his murder may have been orchestrated by State House operatives at the time. No one has ever been convicted. Closure for the family, 38 years later, is yet to come.
There come a time.
Low-quality video recorded on phone by one of the first people to arrive at the scene of a terrible accident.
Preliminary investigation suggests that the helicopter crash that claimed the lives of 2 cabinet ministers, Internal Security Minister Professor George Saitoti, his assistant Orwa Ojode.
Orwa Ojode's wife learns about the crash on television. Alongside the families of Luko Yugi and Captain Nancy Getwanja, Sergeant Thomas Moremi and George Saitoti's longtime bodyguard, Inspector Joshua Tonke. The death of Saitoti was especially poignant. Just 2 days earlier, he was talking to his fellow parliamentarians from a podium in Mombasa, and his words proved particularly irresistible for analysis into their deeper meaning, having been spoken so close to the end of his life.
If we allow the forces of darkness and prejudice to divide us again, if we descend into the depths of violence, as we did in the aftermath of the last elections, the world will give us no second chance.
After giving a rousing speech on the afternoon of June the 8th, a speech that would prove almost prophetic, George Saitoti was supposed to spend the night on this bed in this room. After all the members of parliament who listened to his speech that day were booked in this very same hotel. But he didn't. He instead booked another hotel within Mombasa from Nairobi and went and slept there, giving the key to this room to one of his bodyguards. His bodyguard spent the night here and left the following day, even leaving with a key card. But why George Saitoti never spent the night in room 213, we may never know.
Friends and relatives of the late George Thuo arrived at his home in Thika upon receiving the news of his demise Sunday night. Weighing heavily on their collective minds were the circumstances under which the former Member of Parliament of Yuja and Government Chief Whip in the 9th Parliament died. He is reported to have arrived at the Pokey's Bar in Thika town at around 7:25 p.m. to relax after a brief trip to Kitengela, where he and his wife had visited a friend. According to sources, he was to be joined by the owner of the bar, Paul Wainaina, with whom Thuo had asked to watch a football match over a drink. At 8:45 p.m., Thuo, who was taking a bottle of a popular malt beer, complained of a high fever, forcing him to walk out of the bar into his car, where he is said to have removed his vest. Upon his return 5 minutes later, Thuo became uneasy before falling off his seat and passed out. He was rushed to Thika nursing home before being transferred to Aga Khan Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Paul Wainaina, who owns Pokey's Bar and who is a close ally of the late Thuo, said the deceased had confided in him that he had been diagnosed with hypertension a few months ago and was on medication. Thuo was elected to Parliament in 2007 on a PNU ticket and was appointed government chief whip in the Grand Coalition government. He, however, lost his seat following a successful petition filed by William Kabogo, who clinched the seat on a NARC Kenya ticket in a subsequent by-election.
"25 years ago, the country saw the brutal murder of a sitting cabinet minister. The remains of Dr. John Robert Ouko were discovered 7 kilometers away from his home in Koru.
Wakati mwili ilipatikana ya Dr. Robert Ouko, nilikuwa kwa Ngambui.
I had no reason to kill the minister.
All appears to have been well until the minister joined the then President Daniel Mois for a trip to the United States of America. On the 27th of January 1990, President Mois, together with a delegation of 83 other officials and ministers, left Nairobi to travel via London on a private visit to attend a prayer breakfast meeting in Washington, D.C. The delegation was seen off at the airport by the then Minister of Finance, Professor George Saitoti. On the plane were the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. John Robert Ouko, Energy Minister Nicholas Biwott, the Minister for Industry, Dalmas Otieno, Professor Sam Ongeri, the Minister in charge of Technical Training and Applied Technology, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Bethwell Kiplagat, and the Permanent Secretary for Internal Security, Ezekiel Yugi. While on the US tour, just like other ministers who accompanied the president, Robert Ouko and Nicholas Biwott shared a hotel. In fact, during their stay in Washington, the two were assigned one vehicle to use. The Kenya delegation arrived back at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on a Kenya Airways flight on February 4th, 1990. Dr. Ouko returned to his Loresho home at about 6 p.m. that night and later in the evening paid a visit the Internal Security Permanent Secretary, Ezekiel Yugi. The following morning, the Foreign Affairs Minister was back at State House, Nairobi, where he presented the incoming Japanese and Canadian ambassadors to President Mois. Ouko will reportedly be given some time off by his boss and headed to his rural home in Koru. Ouko's next official assignment was a trip to Gambia. His bodyguard will later tell the police that the minister was carrying some files and stopped over in Gilgil to buy medicine before being driven home. The minister was complaining of a headache. The national broadcaster KBC had carried President Daniel Moi's message to the public. The president had sent out an appeal about his missing minister. Moi wanted anyone with information about his missing minister to notify the police. On the morning of the 13th of February 1990, the country's attention was trained on the hills of Gotalila.
And we were told there is a hard boy who saw the body of Ouko, that Ouko's body has been found somewhere near Gotalila, at the foot of Gotalila. So we rushed to that place to find out what was happening. We never saw the boy. The boy was only seen by the security guys, and we never saw him.
He wanted to drive, he wasn't driving.
Upon receiving the sad news of the sudden demise of Senator Mutula Kilonzo, friends and relatives started streaming into his Manzoni home, where he was found dead. But family members and friends of the late Mutula are grappling with the misery of how a man who was reportedly in high spirits and in good health yesterday could be found dead in his bed a few hours later.
For now, what we want to confirm is that he's dead, and the rest will be, you will be informed in the due course.
What was readily available was Mutula's chronology of events as narrated by one of his workers.
Mheshimiwa, huwa tunamuonanga Jumamosi leo kuanzia saa 4, saa 5 mpaka saa 6.
Mutula is said to have made an assessment of his farm projects before settling down for his dinner at around 7 p.m. last evening, after which he retired to bed. That was the last time Mutula was seen alive. According to his workers, Mutula is usually expected to wake up at around 10 in the morning on a day he intends to stay indoors.
Yule mpishi wake alipika chai akapeleka mahali anakunywa. Sasa tukakaa hapo, tukakaa ule mpishi akatuambia sasa hayo masaa yameenda sana, maana mheshimiwa wa mkanga saa 3, saa 4 na sasa tumefika saa 5, lazima kuwa kuna sababu.
It was when Mutula failed to emerge from his room way after 10 a.m. that they suspected that something was amiss.
Ule mpishi alipanda juu akaangalia. Alienda akakuta mlango umefunguliwa, akapiga akakuta mlango umefunguliwa, iko wazi mahali analala.
Mutula was found lying on his bed half covered with foam oozing from his mouth and nose. His family doctors arrived to examine the body together with government pathologists before the body was taken to Lee Funeral Home. Court leaders led by Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka were among mourners who were at Mutulus' home to condole with the family. They expressed deep sorrow that one of their own had passed on under mysterious circumstances.
We are deeply, deeply shocked. The doctors are coming. A lot of them have been here and they're waiting for others. And we've all decided that we allow the doctors to get the bottom of this matter. We need to know what exactly happened to Mutula.
So therefore, at a moment like this, passions run very high and there will be speculations. But what we want to assure everybody that we will do everything possible to get to the root cause of this tragedy. What is it that cost the life of somebody who was very healthy, even last evening?
Why not sack him? Why? Why?
Emotions ran high at the city mortuary on Monday morning after the family of Peter Msando identified his body. The IEBC ICT manager was found dead in Kikuyu, Kiambu County, while his vehicle was recovered near Thika Road Mall in Roysambu. It is here at the city mortuary in Nairobi that the body of ICT manager at the IEBC, Chris Msando, was brought after it was found lifeless in Kikuyu area. There are conflicting reports regarding the exact time the body was brought here, but according to his brother, the body was ferried here on Saturday at 11:30.
We had a lot of discussion with the chairman and the CEO. Now the best thing you do, because this guy has now been missing for more than 24 hours, the best thing you make a press statement and release it to the press. And akafanya hivyo hivyo, release. So very quickly came in the social media. Then after that, we were told to wait and see what is going to happen next. So we had to wait because there are certain things we don't have the mechanism to do, isn't it? So some of them we leave to the police. But as far as I'm concerned, that Saturday, you were looking for this guy. He had already been killed on a Friday. The body was brought here on Saturday at about 11 something in the morning. And therefore, what the police were saying that they're doing further investigation and going to create a special squad to deal with the issue, I think was neither here nor there.
Besides the family, his colleagues, including IBC chairman Wafula Chebukati and CEO Ezra Chilobo, were present at the mortuary to view his damaged body. Msando's left hand was broken and his body had several injuries indicating he suffered a painful death.
We learned with shock the killing and murder of our employee, Chris Msando. There's no doubt that he was tortured and murdered. I know post-mortem will be done. In our mind as a commission, the only issue is who killed him and why. And that's a question that must be answered. We are a few days from elections, and we all know it's the duty of the government to provide security for all Kenyans. And at this point in time, I demand from the government that they provide security for all employees of IBC for us to give Kenyans a free and fair election. We are working with the police and the family to ensure that the killers of Chris Msando must be brought to book.
Earlier on, speculations of his whereabouts were rife on social media, including one by Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria, which ignited a debate online. According to a morgue attendant who did not wish to be mentioned, a body of a woman with similar damages was brought in shortly after Msando's. It is yet to be confirmed if the woman was in the company of Msando and if she was a collateral damage in the murder.
Good evening. We have actually been here for preparing to cover the the devolution conference happening here when we got information from the North Coast that 2 people had been shot dead right about 6 p.m. right in front of the Shimo, the Shanzu courts there at Shimo Latewa, and we do have confirmation that one of them is Mohammed Makaburi, the controversial cleric who has been manning the Masjid Musa, which had been changed to Masjid Shahada. Now, the 2 people were shot by unknown gunmen. Eyewitnesses say that they were actually walkabouts who passed by, shot the people, and then now walked away. We do not have the exact confirmation from official sources, but we do know that Mohammed Makaburi is one of them. The Masjid Shahada, which is formerly known as Masjid Musa, has already made the announcement in their mosque, and as we're speaking, there has been reports of chaos in Majengo area amid after following the announcement. The other information I have from my camera person on the ground is that gunshots have been rent the air around Shimo Latewa area. There was a confrontation between the police and some youth who had demanded to take the bodies away, but I can tell you now that the bodies have now been transferred to the Bamburi police station just along that road. So that's the latest in Mombasa. There is chaos in at least one place amid the announcements that Mohammed Makaburi, the controversial cleric associated with Masjid Shahada, has been shot dead. There have been chaos. Of course, that's the mosque where the controversial cleric has been going. And just to give you a little insight, is that Masjid Shahada, or the what has also been known as Masjid Musa, has been the headlines for all the wrong reasons. This is the area where a lot of people have been saying, security forces in particular, have been saying has been a major place where the recruitment of people to the terror movement Al-Shabaab has been taking place. Of course, Mohammed Makaburi is now the 3rd cleric from this mosque who has now been shot dead by unknown people. The first happened in 2012 when Abu Drogo, who has been labeled a terrorist and was very, very controversial himself, was shot dead in a drive-by shooting along the Mombasa Malindi Road. A year later, Mohammed Amour, was late last year, also shot dead, 3 people again along Mombasa Bamburi Road. And now we have Mohammed Makaburi also shot along the Mombasa Malindi Road. So it's very, very, the shootings are almost very similar, only that this time it was not a drive-by shooting. And in all these circumstances, there have always been chaos. What has happened normally when this happens, there's been very strong reaction from people on the ground. A lot of youth now, of course, getting very, very, very rowdy or getting very emotional. And what has followed, sad to say, is that some churches have come under attack at the moments like this, and hopefully that the police this time round are already putting enough security measures to man personal property and also other installations. We do expect not just to be a side here, but we do expect this will create a lot of tension in Mombasa, because Mohammed Makaburi is somebody who has been lately speaking a lot and accusing the police of being behind the spate of unknown killings of persons, clerics who have been labeled controversial, and perhaps aiding and abetting acts of terror in Kenya and also in Somalia. And therefore, sometimes I also labeled himself somebody who's willing to die. This is something he had said before. And the last interview I did have with him last time when the police officers raided the Masjid Musa to disrupt a convention which had been labeled as a recruitment for terrorism, he supported the mounting of the so-called Al-Shabaab flags, the most, saying that there is no law that has outlawed those flags. So he's been somebody who has been really teetering on the brink of very extremist conversations, but at the moment
Mei tarehe 5 katika barabara ya Lenana saa 3:30 za usiku. Milio ya risasi yasikika kwa mujibu wa baadhi ya watu waliokuwepo. Dakika chache baadaye, gari aina ya Mercedes Benz nambari ya usajili KAL 007W lapatikana pembeni mwa barabara. Ndani ya gari mwili wa mfanyabiashara mashuhuri Jacob Juma Lukoba mwenye umri wa miaka 45 ukiwa na alama 7 za risasi. Mwili wa Jacob Juma unapelekwa katika chumba cha kuhifadhia maiti cha City mwendo wa saa 8 kasoro dakika 1 za usiku. Taarifa za polisi zinaonekana kukingana na nyayo zake dakika za lala salama.
At 1934 hours, the deceased vehicle is captured opposite Westlands bus terminus driving along Wayakiwe towards CBD with the deceased on the driver's seat and the passenger on the passenger seat. At 1936 hours, the deceased is captured along Wayakiwe near Villarosa, Nairobi, driving towards Uhuru Highway. At 1938, he is captured at Kenyatta Uhuru Highway near Ministry of Tourism, driving along Uhuru Highway towards Mombasa Road. And at this time, we have a passenger on the passenger seat. At 1953, he is captured at Uhuru Highway near the Central Park, along Uhuru Highway towards Wayakiwe. At 1955, he is captured again at Nyerere Road near the Children's Traffic Park along Nyerere Road towards Kenyatta Avenue. And in this time, he is all alone from the time he is captured near the Central Park. At 2014 hours, he was captured at Agus Kothek Road, along Agus Kothek Road, near Center towards Ole Odume Road. The last that we've captured of him on video is at 2007 along Lenana Road.
Alhamisi tarehe 5 Mei akiwa peke yake na gari aina ya Mercedes Benz, Jacob Juma anawasili katika mlango huu hapa Brookside Avenue saa 10 na dakika 15.
Hiyo wiki wakati mpaka akuje kuuawa Friday, kuanzia Monday mpaka Friday, alikuja na mtu yote hapa, labda rafiki yake. Hiyo wiki yote.
Askari Gongo anasema kuwa Juma alikuwa na mazoea ya kujituliza katika nyumba hii hapa Roses Apartment, orofa ya pili, ambapo alitoka baada ya kutizama taarifa zote za habari za saa 1 na saa 3 usiku kila siku kabla ya kuelekea nyumbani kwake mtaani Karen. Saa 12 na dakika 27 Alhamisi hiyo, kabla ya kuondoka kwake Jacob Juma, msichana mmoja aliwasili na teksi katika jumba hili na kumwarifu mlinzi kuwa alikuwa mgeni wa Jacob Juma, chumba nambari 9. Wakiwa wawili ndani ya chumba, dakika 45 baadaye, saa 1 na dakika 45, Juma aliondoka chumbani mwake akiandamana na mwanamke huyo. Usiku wa kuuawa kwake Jacob Juma, mvua ilikuwa ikinyesha, hivyo basi kuwa vigumu kuelezea ni vipi marehemu alifika mjini kwa kutumia dakika 5 licha ya misongamano ya magari ilivyo ada ya kila siku katika barabara ya Waiyaki. Kati ya mwendo wa saa 2 za usiku hadi saa 3:30, polisi wameshindwa kuelezea jinsi alivyoelekea hadi Ngong kabla ya kuuawa kwake, kando na kushindwa kutoa picha za CCTV za barabara ya Ngong. Mara ya mwisho usiku huo, Juma kwa njia ya simu alimweleza rafiki yake kuwa alikuwa chumbani mwake huko Westlands na jinsi maiti yake ilipatikana katika barabara ya Ngong ni jambo la kushangaza. Usiku huo mwendo wa saa 3:30, kwa mujibu wa polisi, mwili wa Jacob Juma ulipatikana hapa ndani ya gari lake. Kuna uwezekano waliomuua Juma wangeacha alama kwenye mitandao inayofuatilia na kunakili laini za simu kuthibitisha kwamba walikuwa katika eneo alipouliwa. Bila shaka, hali hiyo ingekuwa ushahidi wa kutosha kwa polisi kuwatia nguvuni wauaji. Lakini kwa sababu ambazo hazielezeki, Swala hilo limesalia kuwa kitendawili wiki mbili baada ya kuuawa kwa mfanyabiashara huyo.
Msichana alikuwa analia. Na akiwa na chapwa, akiwa slapped, alikuwa bado analia.
My sister, no, she's not the type to have enemies.
There are certain people who have testified, and I would feel that they actually say the truth. There are people who are very honest in this country.
Her friendliness, her frankness, she should tell you something straight without lying to you.
I never heard her shout. I never heard her laugh out loud, but she had this good smile.
It was shocking. I was watching the news when I heard about it, and at first I thought they were talking about a different Mercy until they showed the picture. Then I realized it was the Mercy who was used to be my student.
July 18th, 2011, a traffic police officer is called to attend to an accident scene along Wayaki Way. The police officer records the details of the accident scene in his diary. The police officer pens in his statement, a female adult with a broken skull, fractured legs and hands, lying near the edge of the road. The victim, the police officer says, has no shoes on. The police officer extends his search further. He walks several meters away from the body in an effort to try and locate the actual scene of the accident. Going back to where the body is lying, the police officer notices that there is no blood. He further discovers that the upper part of the victim's skull is missing, so is her brain. No more hit and run accidents have blood stains in notes, and the victim will normally have some personal effects on him or her. Faith had no idea that the body of her sister had been discovered along Wayaki Way hours after she reportedly overpowered her niece and ran away from a house party.
I was standing with her sister, Faith Keino, on campus, just somewhere near the university amphitheater, and a friend sent me a text, R.I.P. Mercy Keino. I looked at Faith, the sister. We were having a conversation, a normal conversation on a normal day. Then I didn't know whether to tell her or not to tell her. I didn't know how to react.
Mercy Keino had gone for an evening party with her niece a day earlier, but did not return home.
I wanted to hear it from him before anything. So I just sat and waited for him to talk. And he said that Mercy had an accident and she died. I broke down and cried.
As traffic police officers moved the body of the University of Nairobi student to a city mortuary, a motorist showed up at Parklands police station. The lady motorist had a disturbing report to make. Lucina Mithayo Wanjeri told the police that at around 3 a.m., 2 hours before the body of Mercy was discovered by the police along Wayaki Way, she came across two vehicles, slowed down and noticed an object beneath a motor vehicle that resembled a human body. Lucina told the police she saw two legs rolling under the motor vehicle she drove on. But before leaving the scene, she noticed the motor vehicle speeding off at a high speed. Suspicious, she scribbled the motor vehicle's registration, told the police that indeed he was near the scene of the accident that morning, but he did not run over the body lying near the edge of the road. When asked why he never cared to report the incident to the police, the businessman said he saw no need to. Mercy Kaino's journey to a mysterious death started over to a senior apartment on the night of the 17th of July, 2011.
I miss her company.
Mercy was among a group of 19 people. Charles Githinji, the caretaker of the luxury apartments, paints a picture of a calm evening before it turned into a chaotic night. Charles says Wasini Apartments had 15 women and 4 men that night. Charles says around midnight as the rest of the guests left the premises, it was summoned by the then Yuja Member of Parliament, William Kabogo. He says Kabogo wanted the caretaker to let him in to a house in the compound. The caretaker says Kabogo was in the company of 2 women. Kabogo ordered for 2 glasses of wine and 2 bottles of water. The caretaker says he came across 2 bodyguards trying to calm down Mercy Kaino. At the time, Mercy had broken a glass and an empty bottle. The caretaker says at some point Mercy ran towards the gym area. She was brought back by the security guard and she was forced to sit at the security gatehouses. According to the caretaker, moments later another lady came and spoke to Mercy. Mercy then accompanied the lady upstairs to a room. Charles says he was one of the people who escorted Mercy Kaino to the room. The sound of glasses breaking forced Charles to call 2 bodyguards and ask them to accompany him to where the sound of the commotion was coming from. Charles says the door to the room was closed when they got to it, and on knocking, William Kabogo opened. Mercy was seated on the floor. There was a broken picture frame.
I slapped like 3 slaps. Yani, okay, siwezi count. Several slaps. Yeah, several slaps. And how many hits on the joints? Alimkanyaga mara ngapi kwa huko? Okay, sio mara mingi, mara kama 3. Kanyaga. Akimkanyaga akiwa anatumia nguvu kiasi gani? Kama alimkanyaga kivipi? Kanyaga na nguvu. Kwa nguvu. Yeah. Akikanyagwa msichana alikuwa anafanya nini? Msichana alikuwa analia. Na akiwa na chapwa, akiwa slapped, alikuwa bado analia. Je, akilia alikuwa anasema kitu yoyote? Hakuwa anasema chochote. Na hao wasichana walikuwa hapo, walikuwa wanamwambia mheshimiwa, leave her alone, leave her alone. Hivyo ndio walikuwa wanamwambia. Bado mheshimiwa alikuwa na kanyaga. Ya juu hata wasichana waliscream wakati akifanya hivyo. Na askari wa mheshimiwa hawakugusa.
The caretaker says Kabogo instructed his bodyguards to escort Mercy out of the room. The bodyguards carried Mercy on their shoulders.
Okay, bodyguard walibeba kubega, walimjibeba. Hapo sasa ndio nataka nijue. Na mahakama lazima ijue vile alipepa kutoka kule. Huyu alikuwa kwa hali gani ndio apepe? Hangeweza kutembea peke yake. Unajua sababu gani pengine hangeweza? Ulikuwa umefahamu sababu gani hangeweza kutembea peke yake? Okay, mimi labda venye amekanyangwa ama venye amepigwa makofi ama venye ameelewa.
It is not clear why the bodyguards decided to carry Mercy Kaino on their shoulders. Was Mercy too drunk to walk on her own, or was she badly injured to stand on her feet? 2 questions that have since evaded police investigators. Charles says minutes later, he had the Member of Parliament inquiring from one of his aides about Mercy Kaino's whereabouts. The aide told the Member of Parliament Mercy had run off while they were trying to call a taxi for her. A guard with a local security firm will later tell the police that 2 bodyguards and Scholastica member Mercy Kaino's niece requested him to open the main gate to a senior apartment. Reason? They wanted to escort a drunk Mercy Kaino out of a senior apartment. The guard says he opened the gate for the three, and that 15 minutes later, the bodyguards and Scholastica Kamemba returned and informed the guard that Mercy and Scholastica Kamemba appeared before police officers at Parklands police station. She told the police investigators that she was invited to the evening party by a second-year student at the University of Nairobi. Scholar, she was fondly referred to, told the police that Mercy was taking wine, but at some point, she was mixing up drinks. She was running all over the house, and at times, she was breaking up things. In fact, she says at some point Mercy cut her lip after she fell on the floor in the house. Scholastica does not mention the private room, where according to the caretaker, Mercy had ended up after she brought her back from the main gate where she had run to. In her initial statement to the police, Scholastica Kamemba says Mercy was very, very drunk. This was after she was asked to take her home.
Kabete MP George Muchai, his two bodyguards and a driver were early this morning shot dead in cold blood at Kenyatta Avenue, Uhuru Highway roundabout in Nairobi.
Police reports indicate that the Kabete MP was trailed from Westlands by a white saloon car and was ambushed when his driver slowed down to allow him to buy newspapers at the General Post Office along Kenyatta Avenue. A masked gunman wielding an AK-47 rifle fired 4 shots at George Muchai's car, killing the driver first, the legislature, and the 2 of his bodyguards. The occupants died on the spot. Witnesses say when Muchai's car slowed down, the car trailing them hit their vehicle on the right side before pulling up in front of them. After firing the shots, the gunman proceeded to pick 2 pistols from the slain bodyguards and a briefcase that was in the car. Muchai's gun was found intact in his holster. The Kabete MP was a licensed firearm holder. A shaken and distraught Muchai's daughter, who was at the scene, says they were leaving Westlands from a family meeting, heading home, which lies along Kangundo Road. The daughter, Muchai's wife, and other 2 relatives were driving in a different saloon car ahead of the MPs. The family would witness the execution of the Kabete MP. Leaders led by Kiambu Senator Kimani Wamatangi have condemned the cold-blood murder of Muchai, his driver, and the 2 bodyguards.
Sisi tunataka hao watu waweze kuchunguzwa, watolewe mpaka tujue ni watu wagani. Kwa vile kwenye town kama Nairobi masaa hizo siku ya leo ni mahali ambapo kuna kuanga na watu wengi. Tuko na askari wamejaa hapo hiyo area ya Nyayo House.
We are asking the police to expedite investigations.
We are appealing to the Inspector General, the Acting Inspector General, and the Director of CID, and the Minister in charge of internal security to carry out thorough investigation in our brother's death and unearth who might have been behind this heinous act of removing Honorable George Mukuru Muchai on public life and on public scene.